Hello, my crafty friends. It's Marie from Mariesvermontcreations, and I'm going to bring you a happy birthday card that was inspired by one of my residents' shirts that she was wearing. So I have taken some tissue paper, and I am going to use some florals from this Honeybee Stamps stamp set. I will put the name of it down below. And I am just putting this on an acrylic block and using the VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. And I am just going to randomly stamp this all over this tissue paper. I didn't take a picture of the shirt she was wearing, but it was like a floral shirt that was white with like deep grays, blacks, flowers all over it, but it had like a seersucker material, so it was kind of wrinkly looking on purpose, and I absolutely loved it. And of course I find inspiration for cards all over the place, and I said to her, that would make a really pretty card. I'm gonna have to remember to do that. So this is what I was trying. I said, wasn't sure if it was going to work. I've never stamped on tissue paper before, so I wasn't sure how that was going to go, but it held up quite nicely. So I am just taking some smaller florals from that same stamp set and filling in some sections. Then I'm going to take this and crumple it all up because I wanted it to have that look. Well, first I'm going to trim it down so it's not so much tissue paper. I wanted just to have a little bit extra because I wanted to make sure once I wrinkled it up that it would reach around the back of the cardstock. So once I get it all trimmed down and get it out of the way, I'm just going to crumple it all up and then pull it back out. I'm not going to flatten it too much because I want it to have those wrinkles like her shirt did. Then I'm going to take this Simon Says Stamp glue stick and put this all over this panel. And this panel is cut to 5 5¼ by 4, I think is what it is. It's slightly smaller than an A2 size card base. So once I get the glue all over it, I'm just going to adhere this down and just kind of press it easily so I don't lose a lot of those wrinkles that I have in there. And that was just a silicone mat that I was using when I was adding the glue stick on. That's something I had from when I was with Stampin' Up. I don't know if they still offer something like that, but it's awesome. No glue sticks to it. It is a great thing to have. So now I am just doing strips of double-sided adhesive on the back, and I'm just going to lay this over. And I didn't do a good job when I did that first section, but it was easy enough to roll it over, and the tissue paper so thin that the adhesive did catch it, so I was able to even it up so there wasn't a lump in the front because I didn't lay it down tight enough to the cardstock. So I'm going to repeat that on all 4 sides and just trim off any extra that I have going along so that I don't have too much bulk in the back, but it is tissue paper, so it's nothing too major, but I didn't want it to stick out either. So I'm just going to take my big Tim Holtz scissors and trim that. And then I will adhere this to an A2 size card base. And I can't recall if I used some more double-sided tape or if I actually used some liquid glue. I like to switch between. I use all sorts of different adhesives. I may use that tape runner that's sitting there. I have tape everywhere. So just making sure that I have it all nice and neat and rolling over the back to make sure that the glue catches all of that. And then I will use the double-sided tape around all of the edges to adhere this to my card base. And then I'm using a second Honeybee Stamps stamp set for my sentiment. I got a happy birthday sentiment, and it has a cute little banner with it. So I'm going to use that to stamp that out once I get my panel attached. Of course, always fighting with the back of these double-sided adhesives. Don't know if that's just me. I have nails too. I don't know what my issue is. I do see some people just use their pokey tool to kind of get the back lifted up, but I never think of that until I'm sitting here doing a voiceover and then think, you should really just use that instead. But I line this up and you get one shot at it with the double-sided adhesive, which is why I typically will use wet glue. So I have at least a little wiggle room because, I'm very famous for putting things down crooked, but this time I managed it on the first shot. So here's that happy birthday sentiment that I'm going to stamp out on a white piece of scrap cardstock, and then off screen I will trim that out. I just fussy cut it. I don't have any dies for this. If you had a banner die, you could definitely use that. I'm sure you could find something that would fit around it. And then I wanted it to pop a little bit, so I'm adhering it using that tape runner to some black cardstock, and then I will trim around the outside of that so that it stands out on my card panel a little bit more. And then I will add that to my card, and that is going to complete the project. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them for me down below. And as always, I hope that you have a great day.